Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Wonder World, created by eStark91. So, stay tuned, and let's check it out. Alright, this was sent in by a subscriber, eStark91, and he says, "This is the first park I created on Planet Coaster. Started in September 2017 and finished in December 2017. Okay, a few months there. I was inspired by the Disneyland parks for the universe and the central castle. But the whole park is not a copy of Disneyland except the main street, the central square, and castle. This park especially helped me to fully discover the game. Now I try to make more original creations. Hope you enjoy. Park description: Wonder World is a paradise for adventurers, young and old. Through various themed universes, visitors have many choices to make their visit a unique moment." All right. So I have to say, for one of his first creations, it's quite an ambitious thing to do one of these mega parks. And I think one of the kind of misconceptions people have coming into Planet Coaster is, I'm just going to build until the entire map is full. But the map size wasn't intended to be fully used. It was there as kind of a sculpture, a base where you could say, you know, if I want to make a big mountain or a big lake, I have the space to do so. A lot of people just fill these giant parks up, or the park space, the borders, end to end, and what ends up happening is it kind of ruins the vibrance of what it could have been. You get a low FPS, you can't have many people in the park. Another thing is, when you're building for your first time and you're trying to tackle one of these things, a lot of the things that you learn to do better along the way have already been done on the park. So what you see is you're much better of a creator by the time you finish than you were when you began, and now you're just kind of wishing, I wish I knew what I knew now before I began this park. Now, I'm not trying to lecture or anything. I'm just kind of trying to drop some general knowledge and things of that nature. Is, you know, I'm not trying to suggest not building parks, but I'm just trying to say, start building small parks and small areas that have a few coasters, a nice terrain, and a nice assortment of decorations, and see how that feels. Try to stick with a certain theme, and then go on to the next. And once you get a feel for the game, how good the engine can handle what you're trying to do, you'll get a good scope in your mind of when you start a big park. How much terrain am I going to need? How much can I have? And then from there, you can decide how many sections and themes you're going to do in your mega park, and what kind of terrain you're going to use. And then you use all the things that you learned on previous parks to go forward and make every section as detailed and as beautiful as possible. So that's my little rant, guys. Don't want to take anything away from this park. It looks great, but some of the points I made will go forward into the discussion I'm going to have about this park in a second. So let's dive on into it. All right, guys. So here's a bird's eye look at the whole park. Quite a mega park, end to end. We have a western area. As you mentioned, the main street, kind of Disneyland inspired area right down the middle here. We have a Caribbean theme going on up here. Kind of like this alpine area. Pretty cool. We got a cozy little fantasy area. Pretty small compared to the rest. Just kind of snuck in between. New adventure DLC jungle safari area, as well as a modern Planet Coaster area, which I really like the way this turned out. Some pretty great buildings in here. Now I'm actually curious here. Let's go to eStark's workshop. Sometimes when you're looking at these mega parks, it's hard to know if everything was created by the creator, if it was from the Steam Workshop. Based off of him saying it took him 2 or 3 months to complete, and looking at his workshop, only seeing a couple fantasy castles and a few other items, I'm going to say 95% of this stuff is blueprints from the workshop, or that comes with the game. However, the detailing, obviously, the little fences, the gardens, and all that stuff is obviously done and placed by eStark here, and as well as the castle was made by him. But I'm gonna assume, unless I could be assuming wrong, a lot of the stuff could be built by him, but he didn't put it on his workshop. But that's usually not the case. If someone spends some time building this from scratch, they're likely going to upload it, and that's what I would suggest to you, eStark. If you did make a lot of these buildings yourself, be sure to upload them to kind of get your workshop up there and get a lot of this cool buildings shared with people that would like to use them. So let's just assuming that I'm right for a moment before we start kind of giving the tour. A lot of the detailing in here, and like we were talking about him being kind of new, this was one of his first creations, and I can see from his very first creation was something for this park. So this is kind of where he started, this is where he's at now, and he said from here on out he's working on more intricate, specific blueprints. So because all the trial and error was done on this park, you can kind of see some of that. And I think the biggest culprit here, or the thing that I noticed the most, is the repetitive trees. None of them are rotated or placed at different heights. They're all the exact same. So that's definitely something that I would keep in mind, thinking about your tree variation, so that you don't just see kind of rows of the same thing repetitive all the way back. Throw in a little bit of different color trees here and there. It's looking okay right here. But some rotation and height variance would be good to break up that repetitiveness. So we're seeing that a lot throughout the bushwork. However, not to take away from your detailing, it's looking pretty good in terms of your fences and stuff, little gardens, different areas like that. It's looking really good. So I definitely think your detailing is good, but your broad strokes might need a little bit more work. And I get that's kind of like the monotony of building these big parks. You're just like, I want to fill in trees here, but sometimes that can do more damage than good. Everything in this game takes a long time, and that's why I'm trying to suggest against doing mega parks as your first creation. However, it looks wonderful, and it's called Wonderland for a reason. It is wonderful, but I just wanted to point out certain things, because even with this western area, a lot of the boulders, the rock work could kind of be said the same. I think it's pretty good, but would like some light rock variation in there, a few more plants and different things. We've seen some pretty good rock work on some of our western creations, and so by practicing a western area by itself and focusing on that, having that your main focus, going into another park, or even if it was just a coaster or placeable blueprint, you get a kind of feel of how to get that rock work really nice. And there's plenty of creations and videos where we've shown off some pretty amazing western stuff, and you can definitely learn from that. And then going forward to make a western specific park or themed area of a western park, I think you'll have a lot more on your tool belt to make it a little bit more of immersive western park. But I do still think there's a lot of good things going on here in terms of composition. I like the shape of the mountain and how the buildings are settled in here with the picket fences. Again, really good detailing. I just think the broad strokes could use a little bit more work in terms of just the nature things, so the trees, the rocks, and that sort of thing. The terrain itself is pretty good. I think this is the same thing that most people do when they start playing. They just build on a flat map, and then they kind of add in water and things along the way. So one thing definitely going into making further parks, E-Stark, is try to think about interesting landscapes and sculpt that beforehand and try to block things out a little bit. So that's kind of like my feedback. I just decided when I opened this one up, I had some things that kind of popped out to me that I wanted to talk about. And obviously, because there's so much trees and so much decorations and it's end to end, it's kind of killing my frame rate a bit. I had to kick out all the guests, so we're down to 300. It was at 5,000. I was getting less than 8 FPS on my pretty killer gaming rig. So now we're on pause mode, no guests, and we're about 16 or 17. So still not the greatest for viewing, and I think everything that I suggested will get that park to a more efficient, more user-friendly, and a better spotlight presentation going forward into the future. So that's kind of my feedback. I wanted to just kind of get that out from the beginning of the video, but we're going to go into this park on pause mode and take a look around at some of the areas and stuff like that, and then we'll go ride the coasters last. So this is the Disneyland Main Street area. It looks beautiful coming through here on the opening shot with the castle in the back. Lovely buildings along the sides here. Very nice. Like I said, with E-Stark's build here, a lot of the detailing, the placement, the use of the buildings and blueprints that we've seen on the workshop here They're all placed really good together. So I think your design skills definitely show, and like your ability to create interesting layouts and compositions is all there. But everything that I mentioned previously will help you take all that, take what you do really well, what you could have improved on, and turn that into a little bit more of a well-optimized, user-friendly theme park. And I think I'm excited to see kind of what you can come up with next, based off of giving yourself constraints, as well as trying to improve some of those things I suggested with the repetitiveness. So, anyways, just trying to be constructive today, and yeah, beautiful train station here. We might give that guy a ride. I'm not too sure. So we checked out the main strip. I think we're going to just jump over to one of the sides of the park. So let's go over here and head down into Pirates Lagoon. Oh. Oh my god. So again, really nice composition here coming through here. Got a nice big mountain there with Captain Lockjaw to the side. Lots of details and garden work with a nice view of the lake. So I'm absolutely loving these compositions here. Everything is looking great. So we got a little Caribbean town going on. Some rides. Really cool looking coaster. Curious to know how many coasters are in this park. I did not check beforehand. Some nice little back trails. Alright, let's hop on through, keep on going. I like the path work. It's interesting how you've laid it out. It's not rigid, it's very organic. And you've kind of separated paths with little gardens and benches. So again, I'm really impressed by your design decisions and compositions. Like this composition here looks really good as well. There's a lot of great things about this park. All right, there's a quick look at the Caribbean area. Kind of want to see what's down here. So it's a food court. This area looks particularly interesting. All right, let's head over to Adventure Island. I think that's what it was called. Forest Adventure. Already see a quick change between all the fencing, benches, building styles, and trees. It's looking really nice. Is that a dark ride over here? I wonder. I think it is. Alright, I feel like I've seen this in a spotlight. Is this somebody's blueprint? I feel like I recognize it. Ah, I like this bridge. It's a nice little area. Beware, dark woods. Okay. I didn't quite spot this when we were doing the overhead. There's a spooky part of the park here. It feels a little bit more like the Forest Adventure. Not as spooky as it could be. I think that's because you could have used a change in the trees. Some autumn trees, maybe more of the dead trees. I suppose nighttime lighting would play a part. So it does definitely feel spookier at nighttime. But this feels like it belongs over here. right? The spooky house is kind of in the adventure forest when I feel like it could be over here. But not too bad. It's pretty cool. Alright, where are we at now? Okay, we're back in that fantasy area that we checked out. Let's head on over. Oh, I like this. That looks really cool. Okay, this is the Safari Jungle Village. He said he started building this park in, what, September? So I'm assuming this would have been one of the last sections of the park that he added in, considering how recent the Adventure DLC came out. It's a little hard to navigate this area, but I think a jungle should be. It would be nice to have a waterfall there, I think. Some hippos. Got a boat ride. Haven't ridden too many of those yet, so that should be fun. Oh. This is really cool terrain. I like how it weaves and goes uphill like this. It's looking really nice. Flying roar? Oh, it's for a flat ride. Okay, back down we go. Let's make our way into, I think it was, yes, City of Tomorrow. I love this. Really do love this. I don't know why, but I feel like this is definitely my favorite area of your park so far. Just think the originality of it now, the buildings. Like, I really love these Planet Coaster theme. It's not a lot that you see people use the stucco with the glass and make kind of modern stuff. And I really would love to see more of that from people, especially for the main street going into a park. I mean, if you were to build like a Planet Coaster park, like a perfect Planet Coaster theme, I feel like this would be your opening area. Right down the middle. Planet Coaster buildings, Planet Coaster theme, it's all modern, and then from there you're branching off into Western and sci-fi and fantasy and all that stuff, and then you head back to the modern area. I think this one, it like might be a little bit modern sci-fi. As we can see, we got a spaceship here. Some of the buildings are a little high-tech, but generally it still gives that Planet Coaster vibe. The pathings all work with it, the garden work. It definitely has that modern vibe, crossed with a little bit of sci-fi. I do like about the Planet Coaster stucco pieces, they can easily be used and interpreted as both modern and sci-fi or futuristic. It is called the City of Tomorrow, I think. So definitely he was going for that more futuristic feel, but at the same time it does capture the modern vibe, and just the way he's built these different areas, I could see it working either way. But it's absolutely beautiful. Definitely the most unique feeling area of your park. I think it's just because I'm so used to seeing so many parks that have been fantasy, Western, and all that stuff, that I feel like in order to make it really stand out, you got to do something super unique and different with your terrain and coasters for each of those sections, and have something that sells it as absolutely unique. Whereas something like this, I think it sells itself. It looks beautiful, and then you've gone in and added kind of like the modern art or whatever in certain areas, and it all comes together really beautifully. So I'm a big fan of this, and I think you did a great job in this section. And then it brings us back to Western. We didn't actually walk around the Western, did we? No, I just took a peek at it. I think on ground level, a lot of the park has been a lot better than some of the feedback I was giving earlier, but we could still see the repetitive trees and stuff from the ground. And I mean, everything from a top-down view is, you're going to notice those things a little bit more than in the on-foot perspective. So I might have been a little bit hard, but I do still stand by what I was saying. And it's always good to have both options to see the beauty of the park from the top and the ground, without noticing any of those kind of flaws I was pointing out. Well, this western area looks very vibrant and lovely. Got a train station here. All right. It's a nice shot there. And we make our way back to the main entrance, I think, from here. Come back soon. Pow. Love the castle. Alright, great stuff, guys. There's a bird's eye view of it all again. We got around the park pretty quickly. Now it's time to ride some of these attractions. I think we're just going to do a clockwise rotation around the park, starting with the western. Now, do we have a... Is this a coaster? Well, that's the train station. I thought this was the train station. Oh, that's a fake train. Ah, very nice. We do have a coaster up here, though. Okay. I think we'll start with the log flume, then we'll go to the wooden steel hybrid. So we got the Rock River. There's the stats if you guys want to check them out. And we're going to go in test mode.
Hey, already,
Alright, I kind of messed with the speeds coming through here by accident. That's pretty cool though. Now I noticed that for some reason now when you fast forward it really tweaks out the water. Watch this. Woo! And in here, not sure what's up with that. All right, let's ride us a coaster, El Bandito. There's the stats if you want to check them out. Going in test mode.
Hello, Mountain.
All right. One thing I would think about, for just a suggestion for everyone that's doing big parks like this, and to East Ark, when you're doing your coasters in a specific area, always think about where your lift hill's facing, so your vantage point will be something interesting as the guests are both going up the lift and when they get to the top of the lift. As I feel like if you would have maybe stationed the lift in this direction, we would have been looking over at the western park as we go up the lift, and we would have seen kind of like the vista up in front of us. A little suggestion there. And then let's go ride the modern coaster, Neo Impulse. All right, there's a look at the stats, guys. Alright, next up we're going to take a quick ride on the new boat ride, the Jungle Explorers. I can't seem to close it down. Hopefully I can get a good view on this. Haven't quite figured out what view is the best for these, but we're going to try this. Oh, look at that. I suggested there should be a waterfall here earlier. Apparently there was. If I pause it, interesting. You know what might have happened if I speed it up? No, I don't know why that wasn't being displayed earlier. Huh. Very curious about that.
Madame, never done stuplumant, una dick badun versi proludunak. Timon pafu dan stuplumant.
That was quick. Short but sweet. Okay, I gotta try something here. Maybe if I speed it up. Oh. I have no idea how I got that waterfall to disappear. Maybe if I'm out here, I pause it. Oh, that's how you do it. Get rid of the LODs, pause it, come back in, and they are gone. Interesting. Which brings up an actual interesting discussion, which I learned from the creator of that alien ride that we saw not too long ago. Now, one thing, he was saying that he built his coaster around the outside of the park rather than all together in the middle. And that made it so that the coaster ran at a very high frame rate. So I want to kind of give a little bit of dropping knowledge on anyone that's curious about game design and making their parks optimized. So there's something called LODs in all game art assets. There's usually 3 to 4 levels of detail for every art asset. So with these waterfalls, you can see that when we zoom out a little bit, they're lower quality, and if we zoom out far enough, they actually completely disappear altogether. Now, the reason for that is you probably won't really see it from this far out. Now, maybe with this one, the LOD might be a little bit extreme, but if we look at other things like trees, you can start to see them lose quality based off of camera distance. You can see these trees changing as we zoom out. And in fact, if we get far enough, you can actually see the whole park change. See this line here? It's literally pulling the LODs out of all of the objects. You can literally see like almost like a shadow going over the whole park, but that's it's actually just the textures and the models shrinking in size. So that's what gives you that effect, but it still generally from a distance looks like the same park. So essentially what's happening here is when we zoom into a little tree, that's like the highest level of detail, LOD 0, and then we zoom out, well, it'll swap out at a certain camera distance for one that's slightly lower polygons, and then another one that's, you can definitely see the pop there, pop right there. And then it lowers them to a low, it swaps the model out for a lower quality asset and texture. So how does that make a difference for you guys? How is that going to benefit you for building these mega parks? Well, if you build a mountain in the middle or a lake in the middle and you build most of your park around the outsides, you can actually build a lot more and still run it a lot better. So because all your details over here, and we're looking at this, the stuff on the other side of the park is actually not rendering very high because it's all at LOD 4. But right now with all the stuff in the middle, these are all kind of at like LOD 2 and 1, so it's rendering a lot of stuff. So if this was all replaced with the mountain, essentially the only things that we're really computing is this kind of corner of the park. And then if we were to move over here, it would then become the same thing. We're only rendering this side of the park, and all this stuff is low detail. So it's actually kind of a good strategy if you're making these mega parks and coasters to kind of leave the center open, and then or a mountain or something, and build kind of around the outskirts, especially for the exploration coasters. And you can kind of find a way to incorporate that into your theme a little bit and have some gullies and mountains and stuff kind of dividing and separating your parks, and giving them all a unique perspective and view while also maintaining the optimization. So anyways, a little rant there. I just thought it would be fun to talk about that because it was something I never got a chance to mention from the alien ride there, and something I never really thought to incorporate into Planet Coaster builds, but something I definitely knew about. I just never thought of applying it here. So next up we're going to go on the Dragon Warrior. Alright, guys, next up we're going to go on the dark ride. Let's go check this guy out. Oh, this is where my 300 people are stuck. They all really need to go pee. They've been in this queue for hours. What's going on in here? Why? Oh, is it a really long ride or something? Interesting. Alright, let's see what this is all about.
Ejabu Omaru. Mide Omanuk. Edabu Omaru.
Holy freaking Toledos, you guys. That was absolutely incredible. I did not expect the ride to be that big, and after seeing it, I in fact do not think we saw this in our Halloween contest. And Eastark, if you're the creator of this, that is absolutely amazing. That would have been worthy of a spotlight all on its own. And had you been in the community and competed in the Halloween contest with this, you in fact could have probably won, or definitely been a heavy competitor with a ride like that. It was so lengthy, it had so many triggered events, and it was just really, really thorough. Definitely my favorite ride in this park so far. Really well done. Alright guys, so the Silly Mountain, there's the stats if you guys want to see them, and I'll cut to it when it is ready. Last but not least, we have the Golden Curse. This is an inverted coaster, I think. Let's give it a go. Boom, there it is, everybody. Absolutely amazing work, E-Stark. Hopefully my feedback was not too harsh, but a little bit constructive today. I really loved your themes. You have some really nice themed areas in this park. That dark ride was phenomenal. The coasters were pretty solid too. A little bit short on some of them, but pretty darn solid. And as I said, your detailing work is really nice. There's some really great vistas and design concepts going on in here. Definitely love this. Was it the future? The city of tomorrow? Yes, that area was definitely my favorite. Stood out, very unique. Lots of really good things going on in this park today. So there you go, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of Park Spotlight. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. And if you would like to support the show to keep it going, you could do so by becoming a patron. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.